want to recognize the current board of directors, the group that served this year. So if you are here tonight, if you would not mind just standing where you're at so we can thank you. So Chet Welch, our immediate past president. Phil Bolin, our president-elect. J.D. Ator is not here tonight, but he's our first vice president. Tammy Wise, our second vice president. Wayne Koskinen, secretary. Cindy Rousseau is not able to join us tonight, but our treasurer. Pat Amico, she's everyone's favorite person right now because she just sent you all a bill. Pat Amico, our sergeant at arms. Les Dominy, our community service director. Sarah Bucher is our membership director. She was not able to join us tonight, but she has served with us this year. And Tom Luke, our foundation director. So thank you so much to our board members. And before I move on from this year's board, I do want to just take a minute to thank those board members who are outgoing. So we had 2 board members who served partial years this year. Katie Perkins served part of the year as membership director, and Ken Robinson served as secretary for part of the year. And then this is now Chet's last year of service. I fondly remember actually sitting around a table at Catawba Island Club trying to think of who was going to be our next second vice president, and Chet's name came up. So I remember that. I really remember it vividly. It was on a Saturday morning after a late Friday night that many of us can remember that Friday night too. But it was so good to have you on the board for the last several years. So thank you. Applaud Chet for his service. And then Dr. Dominy, where are you at today? So Les Dominy is leaving the board too as our community services director, and he has been instrumental in our 4-way test contest, both the speech and the written essay version, and any of the community service projects we've done for the last few years. So thank you so much for your service to the board. I also want to take a minute to recognize our Perrysburg Rotary Service Foundation trustees. So in 1984, 5 years after the club was founded, we decided to start a foundation for our 501c3 for our charitable donations and contributions, and much of the work that we do from a fundraising and grant perspective happens through the foundation. So our trustees this year, Jack Sculfort, chair. Susan Nelson, our vice chair. Bruce Samuelson is our secretary treasurer. Joni Azendorf, trustee. Greg Archambault, trustee. Wayne Koskinen, trustee. Jim Nooney, trustee. Chet Welch, trustee. And Dave Wise. So thank you so much to our trustees who serve. You know, both of these boards meet at least once a month in separate meetings and then together for certain things. And so their service to the club in between our Friday meetings and between all what we do is really invaluable. It's another level of service, and I'm so appreciative of both of them. I do also want to recognize this year's District Governor, Maris Spreader. She was not able to join us tonight. She had another commitment, but I do want to thank her for her support of the club this year. She has been a great cheerleader to all of us. In fact, that's probably one of her best qualities is cheering us all on and thanking us for our service. So I know she sends her regrets that she was not able to join us tonight, but I do want to just take a minute to thank her for leading the 64 clubs in Northwest Ohio this year. So a few years ago, we started a tradition of selecting a Rotarian of the Year and presenting that designation at Charter Night. And so it's not easy to select one person because we do have a very active and vibrant club. There is pretty much in a given year, every one of you in this room has done something to further our club in a year. But as I thought about this past year, there was someone whose face just kept popping up in my mind, and maybe that's a good thing for some of you, and maybe not if you're popping up in my head. But this Rotarian wasn't really the chair, the main point person for any big project or event. She wasn't a person that you heard from weekly at meetings. You probably didn't get very many emails from this particular person. But nearly every major project that we had this year, she was a part of it. She served meals to senior citizens. She supported our push to end polio now, and she sat on the committee that put together the casino night event. In fact, I do remember going into a work meeting and coming out and having like 17 emails about what type of Yeti cooler we should purchase for the last $100 donated at our event. She attended meetings to represent our club with city council and the park efforts. She participated in our strategic planning sessions, and if volunteers were needed for something, she always showed up. She provided communication to the board and the trustees about our work with the schools in northern Pakistan. This Rotarian joined our club in 2001 and serves as vice chair of the Perrysburg Rotary Service Foundation. What I appreciate most about her service to our club is that she is a person who helps craft our policies and our procedures and makes decisions about our foundation and our giving, but she is also a person who rolls up her sleeves and gets involved at every level, even buying a Yeti cooler at Bass Pro, which I have this feeling that is not a place she hangs out a lot. She also, by one small twist of fate, asked if I had an open seat at my table tonight, and I did. Our club would not be the same without her, and so it's my distinct pleasure to introduce our Rotarian of the Year, Susan Nelson.
Extraordinarily brief. I think you all know that as a result of a comment made at a Rotary meeting that I blush at the top of the moment, which I am doing now. I am overcome, never in a million years. Jeff's not here. He's off tending to a birthday party for the other side of the family, but he's with me in spirit, and I say thank you to Alison, I say thank you to all of you, and I say thank you for Rotary for being a vibrant part of my life, through my father who taught me about Rotary as the president of the Grand Rapids Club in Michigan, the youngest Rotarian president in their history. So I carry this to my dad tonight, and thank you all very much.
There's more. I can't believe that you brought up that moment in the meeting, which I totally forgot about until this moment, but it is making me laugh. So somebody asked Susan the question of who her first sleepover was with. Meeting, slumber party.
My girlfriend.
We all had a chuckle there, so. Well, it's funny because I feel like I've sort of made my legacy this year on PowerPoints and having audio visual with everything I've done. And so Ashley probably nearly had a heart attack this afternoon when I was like, the PowerPoint's off. We're not doing it tonight. And I usually rehearse what I'm going to say and write it all out, and I didn't really tonight. But I did want to, before we hand this over to Phil, just offer a few remarks and thank you to the club for this opportunity. So as many of you know, I served a lot of years on our club board, really in a backseat position. I was the secretary-treasurer for a long time. I took your dues payments, I took your RSVPs for events like this. I knew who had allergies for food. I knew who wanted to sit with who at the fundraisers. That was what I really loved doing. I loved working with all the presidents and making them look good in their role. That was one of my most favorite things, was talking with them before the Friday meeting and figuring out what we needed to do. But eventually I did think it was probably time for me to be president of the club. So last July, June, when I was here, I felt excited, I felt ready. I told you I wanted Friday to be your best lunch of the week, and I hope at least maybe once this year it was. I've had a lot of fun on them, and people told me, like, please, you really can't mess this up, just the club runs itself, it does things, and that's sort of true. It's not totally true. It doesn't quite happen without any leadership, but I will say I've been invigorated and refreshed by how welcoming and how supportive everyone has been on new ideas that we've done. I mean, this past October, we raised over $30,000 to end polio now. We've raised another $8,000 or $9,000 to the annual fund of Rotary, and I've had a chance to look people in the eye who have been recipients of what that money does around the world, and it's not just marking the list off and getting your next Paul Harris Fellow, although for the record, we had 15 new Paul Harris Fellows and 45 people reach additional designations. Which sort of the math banker brain part of me was pretty excited that 45 is divisible by 15. I thought that worked out nice. We had a great leadership series in January where we heard from businesses. We did our first ever casino night and really put that thing together in, 6 to 8 weeks. It was not a long turnaround, but it was just one of those moments where several of us talked on the phone and thought we can do something. We don't have to do what we've always done and we can still have a great night. In the course of the year, we have inducted many new incredible members, and I do just want to take a minute to recognize their names because I've been where you're at, newer members, where you come to this event and you don't know everybody yet, you don't know who the players are, you don't know who's friends, and I just want to take a minute to make you know that you are special to us. We're so glad you're here. So Jerry Carter, who was the very first member I inducted this year, Tom Cole, Fred Danhauser, Jeff Earnhardt, Lydia Ebersole, Allie Glover, Jillian Gustafson, Scott Libby, Mindy McCarthy, Casey Myers, Susan Reese, Sandy Snyder, and we have a couple more in the hopper. I don't know if we'll get them done before June 30th, but we're so grateful for all of our new members this year. Over half of you attended a strategic planning session to give your feedback about where our club should go. And so many of you have supported what we're doing at Rotary Park. I'll be honest, we have a lot of work still to do to rally and organize that, but we are going to build a shelter house there. We're going to have a playground there. So much is coming for Rotary Park, and I think as all of us were not sure a couple Sundays ago whether people were going to actually pull in that parking lot and come to our event, we thought we might all be eating Phil Boland's hot dogs for Aaron's, I think we should say, Aaron's graduation party hot dogs for weeks, but hundreds of people from our community came out for that free day, and that was probably one of my most favorite moments we've had this entire year. It was an event, Tammy Wise had so much to do with making that a reality, and it was really an incredible day to see people from our community just thankful for what we're doing. And somebody texted me from the YMCA had an event Wednesday, and there were kids wearing our Rotary shirts there, which is good. We did give away a lot of free t-shirts that day. I do want to thank a couple of other people. So, you cannot be Rotary president without your family and your friends around you. My sister Kirsta is here tonight, and I'm so grateful to have her here with me, been my support. And then there's some other individuals here that joined me tonight. Obviously, Jessica is a part of our club, and her husband Kale, but they've been dear friends of mine for a lot of years, and it's meant so much to have Jessica in the club with me. And then a funny thing happened when I started working at the district level for Rotary. I ended up finding friends that I did not even know that I needed or wanted that have now become great parts of my life. So Deb and Chris Cheney, you've just been incredible people to me, supported me every step of the way, let me hang out at your house. Deb did, Chris just didn't complain. It's been awesome. Keith, over the last couple of years, we've gotten to know each other since you've been appointed to the district governor line, and we've had a lot of fun together. We've laughed. I'm proud to be chairing his district conference in a couple of years, and I'm just proud to call you a friend. Thank you. And then Wes and Allie were some other individuals that I met through their work with Rotaract with the district and working on the Peace Conference. And all these people now, we've traveled together and become friends, and you just can't trade that. That's the part of Rotary that if you try to explain it to people, it sounds kind of weird. Like we all eat lunch together and we all hang out and we all do service things. It sounds like almost too good to be true, but it's not. So thank you to all of you. I also want to thank the folks who are going to be president after me. So this year, sometime throughout the year, we started a group text, and we've been almost nearly every day between Phil and Tammy and JD and now Jessica texting each other for support. And I think that consistency is going to go a long way for our club. We have a lot of shared vision, but we also laugh, and that is good because sometimes when you're a volunteer and you're doing this type of work, you wonder if it's really worth it. But the friendships and the people you meet along the way make it worth it. So the last thing I wanted to say is that everybody tells you when you become president that the very best job is becoming past president. But I think that's a lie, because I honestly do not think there's a better job in our club than being the president. So many of you are incredible in your business, and you're incredible in your families, and it's been a privilege to know all of your families. And so for one short year, I was honored to be the face of that. I was honored to be the person you introduced your guests to, and your family and your friends, and I don't take that lightly. So while I will be happy to have the pace down a little bit, to be able to find my work emails within my Rotary will be nice again. There is not a better job than to be president of Perrysburg Rotary, because you are an incredible group of people, and we are an incredible club making a huge difference in the world. Our charge was to be the inspiration for the year. I hope I've been it a little bit to you, because I know you've been it to me. So thank you for everything. I'm so excited to hand this over to Phil so that he can have the best job in Rotary.